Welcome, everyone, to another episode of My World to Travel. Today, we're continuing the Hawaii series, and we're traveling to the islands of Maui and Hawaii Island, also commonly known as the Big Island. As always, Christina is by my side. Let's welcome our guests, Lindsey and Heather. As we start, Lindsey, can you share with us kind of your path to Hawaii? How did you discover the islands? What do you treasure most about it?
Aloha, friends. Honestly, my path was purely selfish. I started traveling to the Big Island mostly, and I had gone there a couple times and just really loved it to the point where I was kind of in tears when I would be on the plane leaving. I just didn't want to go home. I'd been in hotel sales for a long time in actually Aspen, Colorado. That's where I really started my career. There was just this draw to be doing something that involved Hawaii. So I thought, well, I'm in hotel sales. I mean, I can just sell Hawaii. So I really actively pursued hotels that I loved in Hawaii. And here I am. I've been with the Andaz Maui for about 6 years now. And then when Hyatt took over recently the Hana Maui resort, which was previously the Travasa Hana, now I've got 2 beautiful hotels on Maui, and it just kind of checks all the boxes. It's a win-win. I love it.
And Heather, what about for you?
Hawaii has always had a special place in my heart. It was one of the first places I visited when I think it was in high school, but I went to Maui first, and then I've only been to Maui and Oahu until December when I joined the Mauna Lani team. Prior to this, I was with City Hotels in Los Angeles and New York. I've always dreamed about working with a resort, and I feel like I've finally found my place.
You made it to the Big Island and arrived at the property. Can you describe us like your first feelings, experience?
I mean, when you first arrive, you're greeted by the aloha spirit with like the front drive. But once you go into your room, you're like, okay, this is like rooms are rooms. The first part of the arrival is just like, okay, but once you start like absorbing everything the island has to offer, and then meeting the people, I had to pinch myself. I was like, this is not real. Especially like it was my first time traveling that distance during COVID, and it just felt so safe and pure and everything that we need right now. And like the human connection was just so authentic and inspiring.
I really love how you pointed that out, that it feels good when you're there. Like, I mean, going back to Hawaii and visiting my property just a month ago was really the first time I'd traveled since this whole thing started too. And I kind of was worried that, the masks and the precautions and everything would dampen that feeling or that warmth that you get when you're there. And I was so just blown away that it didn't feel that way at all. I mean, it felt like the same Hawaii that I've been used to going for, 12 years now. So I thought it was awesome. And you can tell that like people were really respectful and had their masks on when going to and from, but they're still, jumping through waves and everybody's snorkeling, and, it was just how it always has been. So it was a pleasant surprise. Let's put it that way.
The fish aren't social distancing. The fish are still there next to you when you're snorkeling, right?
Yeah, tell that to the whales. It's been whale season, and I've seen, oh my gosh, some of the videos of this last whale season with the outriggers going out right in front of the hotel, and the whales are right there. And I'm just going, that's a little too close for comfort. Like they're just as curious about you as you are about them. And I don't know. I love it. It's one of the best things you can do out there, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah. To piggyback off of that, we interviewed our like wave guru with our Kainalu water sports program. And he was telling us a story about when they were on the sunrise canoe paddle and the whale came right up to the canoe and it went viral and it went like underneath. And it was like very scary for him, but he like never experienced anything like it. Like the whales just like are not afraid of the humans because the Hawaiians have taken such great care of and have been so gentle with all the living creatures.
No shortage of thrilling experiences in the islands of Hawaii, right?
Don't you feel, just from a Hawaii hotelier on my end, there is a big difference between working at other hotels and literally having that whole spirit of aloha that they talk about, with how much they welcome you and care about you, you know, in the hotel. I mean, they reach out and just make sure you're okay all the time. And I think for somebody that works from home, you feel that it's significant.
Yeah, since I've started, I visited every month. Last month, I was there for 2 weeks, and it's so hard to leave. And as new as I am, I feel like I've been there a couple of years at least. Everyone just immediately, it makes you feel so welcomed. And I mean, we just celebrated our 38th anniversary on February 14th. We have Uncle Danny, who is our cultural ambassador that oversees the whole House of Knowledge. And we have petroglyphs, and he talks story. And we have this Ava Woods Parker cottage that it's like a little museum. And it's like so cool that we can really embrace the Hawaiian culture and really let them still continue those traditions and help us learn about them, because it feels like it's becoming less and less as we move into the modern world.
Today, people are really pivoting on how they're choosing to select where they're going to stay, and more meaningful travel, transformational travel. It's really important where they kind of decide to go. And Andaz and Auberge are two really great collections that have individuality and their boutique. They have a lot of the elements that people want. What's a highlight for you to wrap up your brand, and then also maybe what you would want people to take away from this that maybe they don't know about it.
The word Andaz is actually a Hindi word for personal style. So really what you're going to notice across the board with any Andaz is that it's very true to the destination. So no two Andazes are going to be this cookie cutter product. You know, if you're in a city property, it's going to be that very chic, modern kind of city property. Whereas if you go out to us on Maui, you're going to see a little bit more of a modern aesthetic, but we call it a modern day Hawaii. You still very much know where you're at. It's all about place. It's all about culture. It's all about, you know, locally sourced anything. So that's really what that's all about. And I mean, Hana is part of the destination brand as well, which is 100% very much the same kind of deal, where every location is different. And Hana is its own beast out there. There is just nothing like it. I mean, we're the only game on that side of the northeastern side of the island. So it really is kind of stepping away and seeing Hawaii in its natural form. So yeah, both beautiful products. I'm so proud to represent both of them. I can't even say it enough. Heather, what about you?
For us, those who know Auberge comes after the name of the hotel. You know, like Mauna Lani Auberge, and that's how all the other hotels are named, because they want the hotel or that destination to shine first through the people and the individualistic personalities that come from that destination. So they really do a great job at finding these really authentic places and where they can just elevate the experience with Auberge. So we strive for excellence, but in a very personalized way for that destination. So there's that true sense of place. The company started with Auberge de Soleil in Napa, and that started as a restaurant. So they built the hotel around the restaurant so people can enjoy the greatest food and drinks and have a place comfortably to stay. Culinary is the forefront of the brand and all the experiences that come along with that destination. So, and we want to be the best loved hotel company. So not the best, we just want to be loved. And that means the service component comes from the heart. And I think that's a really great consistency throughout the brand.
I'm going to say, I was kind of stalking your property yesterday. I was like, ooh, Mauna Lani. And because honestly, Maui, of course, has close part in my heart, but I have always been absolutely in love with the Big Island. I used to travel there for years and years and years before I even started selling Hawaii. And that's really how I fell in love with Hawaii in the first place.
You know, all of the islands in Hawaii they're just so stunning, and they're also different, right? You got to keep going back.
It is this almost uncopyable formula of how welcoming they are, how warm the people are, the beauty of the nature. Like you mentioned the moon, right? And I remember I was in Kauai at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, just sitting in the lobby bar and just mesmerized by the moon, the waves, and the stars. That's it. That's all I did for like an hour. I just sat there and took it all in. So
That's one of the best. That's one of the best things to do. I mean, out at our new Hana Maui property, they have these oceanfront bungalows, and I mean, it is oceanfront, and it's not directly on the beach. It's actually on the lava coastline, and you have these just massive crashing waves. It's breathtaking. It's absolutely spectacular. But I think Heather was talking a little bit ago about being there the last time during the full moon. And I was there during a full moon too. And just there is something so magical about sitting there just watching the stars. And of course, I mean, if you live anywhere like we do in Southern California, you have so much light pollution that you forget like how stunning stars are. And when you're out in the middle of the Pacific, you're just, I mean, it's just a show in itself to see the stars and the full moon and waves crashing. And I mean, it's Nat Geo. It's a Nat Geo moment is what I'll say.
Yeah, no, when I first got there, when it became dark, all I could do was like look up. I was like, wow. It's just incredible with how close you're like so like involved with nature.
Can you talk a little bit about, your favorite places to be when you're outside?
We are basically like all open air. We have our Halani, like all day dining. It's more casual. Our Ha bar and grill right next to it. So like next to the resort pool and adult pool. Those are great for the day. But Canoe House, it's our celebrated, more formal dining, but everything is like so casual. You can go in like casual resort wear still. But I have to share like a really exciting story from this past week. So the chef was with Nobu for 17 years. And it's a husband and wife duo. So the husband is the executive chef, and he handles all the culinary experiences at Mauna Lani. And then the wife is the general manager. So they themselves, like, they run it as like a couple. It's really cute. But they're new to Mauna Lani when Auberge took it over. So there's like really great experience from their background, but they're really bringing to life the bounty of the island, the fresh seafood, and then the farm to table concept from our local farmers market. Thomas Keller popped in last week unannounced. He heard that Canoe House was a really great restaurant on the island, and he surprised Chef Matt by going into the kitchen. He like congratulated the chef and everyone in the kitchen, and he like did a round of applause at the table, and that was like the best. He thought that was like pretty awesome, and I think that just like tells you how well the restaurant's doing, and the food is like pretty out of this world, like probably better than most restaurants in LA.
do we have a showdown? Nobu versus Morimoto?
But
Is
if you
this
do-
like a Iron Chef challenge?
He left Nobu, so it's just Chef Matt. So Morimoto's at your hotel?
Mm-hmm. We have Morimoto Maui. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Bacon foam is like one of my favorite things now. Who knew?
Bacon foam.
Bacon foam.
We had a foie gras gyoza.
Yes, see, the bacon foam goes over the gyoza.
Oh yeah, let's have a collab.
There we go.
Let's go.
I love it.
We've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of them have rolled back their kind of environmental policies. You've always been the leaders. We care much about culture, environment, our footprint, and giving back. And as I said, many people have used almost COVID as an excuse to kind of say, we'll do it once we can.
I think for us at Andaz, we are still just absolutely powering through. I mean, even if you're using single-use items, it can still be made out of sustainable, materials. So, like for example, all of our utensils and stuff are made out of bamboo, and things like that. All highly recyclable materials. I mean, we are building we're in the process of building 19 new villas on property, and all of those villas will have solar panels on the top, just like our other buildings do. I mean, last year we installed over 800 solar panels. on the top of the hotel, which not only supports the hotel, but also we have so much left over that we are also, supporting the community as well. So we've just continued to kind of push forward as best we can. I mean, it's a learning experience, but I think if you make that a priority in everything that you do, it's doable. It's highly achievable.
Both of your properties have villas, and one of the trends coming up is people staying longer, multi-generational travel, people requiring that space. Can you talk about your villa options on each of the properties?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, honestly, I've been saying that we could have sold our 11 existing villas in March, and especially those first 2 weeks of April, we could have sold them 3 times over. We are getting more villa inquiries than we ever have been. It's been crazy, and definitely for longer stays. 2-3 weeks a month is pretty common. Us launching our 19 new villas in May, it just couldn't come at a more fortuitous time for us. Those are all going to be 3-bedroom options. And I think what's really great too is that they're going to be a little bit lower of a price point for us than some of our oceanfront villas. So it really does make that villa experience, doable for families that might be on a little bit more of a budget. But the villa experience is just bar none. I mean, I had a chance to actually stay in one of our 2-bedroom oceanfront villas last year with my husband, and we went for our anniversary. Thank you to my team still for hooking us up. That was amazing. But it was so cool. I mean, we were sitting there sipping rosé in the private jacuzzi and had basically a front row seat to the luau going on. I mean, I just was like, this is how the other side lives.
And I think you bring up a good point of how a lot of people have been missing milestones and missing celebrations. So maybe it's an opportunity to stay longer, to kind of bump up to something that they normally wouldn't have done. So
I think I'm right there with you. I think what's really kind of perked me up a little bit is to see the cool things that are going on property for people that are making the best out of a bad experience. For us, we've been doing a lot of more intimate weddings on property. For people that have survived quarantining together in a relationship, we've been seeing a lot of engagements on property, and kind of the fun things that the crew at the hotel is kind of doing to make those engagements come together. I mean, we had a couple just last week that we did a big floral "Marry Me" sign in the pool. And so he brought her over the main balcony in our lobby area, and she sees the "Marry Me" thing, and he gets down on one knee. And of course, the whole lobby's just erupting. It was great. It was really great to kind of see that happen. So those things are not just fun for the guests, but they're really fun for the team. And it kind of gives you a fresh outlook, and you remember why you're in the business, and it's just been great. So, yeah.
Can you both talk about entertainment on your properties and what fun things we can expect to see when we're there?
Uncle Danny is really our star. He does the ukulele classes, and then right now we're doing on every Friday at sunset live music at the Surf Shack. So the Surf Shack sits between our great lawn where the resort pool is, and you can do fun games, and then the beach is on the other side. But then also there's games for the kids to be interactive on the great lawn. Even our general manager pops in and they'll put a little tennis court up every so often, and people can just jump in when they want. So it's a very playful experience.
And Uncle Danny has his own oceanfront residence at property, right?
The Ava Parker Woods Cottage, yeah. That's his office. Speaking of Uncle Danny, we have a twilight activity or event, and that's during the full moon time. Well, it's every Saturday, so the closest Saturday to the full moon. And before COVID, there were 400 or 500 people, locals, who would come to the Ava Parker Woods Cottage, and he would have a surprise guest to play music or whatnot. And it could be someone famous or someone just local, but it's always a fun surprise. And we're doing that on YouTube and our Facebook now. And
I know many people are looking to travel with their kids occupy their kids with something else than an iPad or themselves?
We have summer camps this summer. We just rolled out with last week. So it's between July and August, and it's $1,000 for each kid. And there's one that's like be a pro athlete, and so they compete with one another in like the water activities, tennis, golf, and then at the end of the week they have an award ceremony, which is fun.
That all sounds fantastic. I would be remiss if I didn't ask, do you have a specialty go-to cocktail?
I'm kind of a non-denominational drinker, but I would probably say we have this one called a Holiday in Jalisco. That's a very fresh take on it, almost like a tequila drink. It's got fresh mint and our own Andaz tequila from Don Julio. So I kind of go to that one, but we have just an unbelievable cocktail menu. Every year we have a star mixologist come from New York, of all places, and she comes out and just kind of whips it into shape and adds some new things. So it's constantly changing, but I think, just having the wealth of fresh fruit on property, and around the islands, it doesn't hurt.
Heather,
what's your favorite? Have you been testing ones to see what's
too many? My general manager loves tequila. So at Canoe House, he has like a beautiful bar. One side is full of all of the specialty tequilas. So anyone that's tried to go to Mexico and is like afraid of going to Mexico will get their fix at our hotel. And then we have a beverage director. He worked at French Laundry with Thomas Keller, and he was all in like the Napa world. So he does our mixology classes as well. He geeks out. Like he goes like really deep into like Hawaiians love their storytelling. Like he goes above and beyond with the stories for like even the wines. And I think this might be a little premature to share, but we're trying to get like rosé in like buckets and maybe magnums for the pool for summertime. So we're going to try to get our own label. And my general manager and the beverage director are like BFFs. And then we have because we have different outlets and they have their own specialty like drinks. The Surf Shack, we have our pool and beach manager. His name is Misa, and there's a Misa Thai. So his take on Mai Tais, and then he puts like an amaretto like flavor in it, and it just, I know it might cause a headache later, but just drink lots of water. It's definitely worth it because it's unusual. And then our other restaurant manager from Holani in Ha Bar and Grill, he makes a tequila drink with calamansi. It's like I don't know if you guys know it, but it's like this small. It's like an orange. They say it's like a lime, but it's like sweeter than the normal citrus, but it's a nice like tropical flavor. And it hits home because I'm Filipino and like the Filipinos love calamansi. So it's a fun, lighter drink.
If you can't go to Europe this year and you're missing Nikki Beach, you've got those big rosé magnums. That's what that reminds me of.
Exactly.
Heather, you've gone out back every month. Lindsey, you just came back. And what have you noticed since, let's say, November to now?
People have been extending like nonstop. And once they realize how friendly everyone is and how normal it feels, like no one wants to go home.
What's kind of the relationship with the travel advisor community? Is it part of your extended family?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my travel agents are people that I have worked with a lot. I mean, some of them since I was selling ski in Aspen. These are people I've known for 10 to 15 years, a lot of them. After such a tough year, it's been kind of catching up with them and seeing how they're doing on a personal level. Are you okay? Is your family okay? So I think there's been kind of some of those, more tough and personal talks and catching up, as we're finally starting to be able to work together again. So I think that's been really kind of special. I mean, I don't know that that's the most common thing in many industries, is to have that really personal relationship with your partners like we do.
It's cool to see that I can really nurture the relationship even further by doing what we can to make their clients feel special on property, and creating like the loyalty from, you know, the pre-planning process to personalizing the amenities and like their birthday, special occasions, and really like having just a more in-depth booking process. And we prioritize like the upgrades, and anytime like we have a suite available, we'll try to get them in there, oceanfront. And you know, that we have like certain protocols, but we could always be so flexible with our travel advisors, because we trust that they have the business and they've been such great supporters. So we like to support them right back.
Well, I always like to say that you guys are our boots in the ground. Andrey and I like to take care of our clients, and then you guys deliver the experience for us. I mean it when I say, when your hotel succeeds, Hawaii succeeds, our clients succeed. When Andrey succeeds, I succeed. I mean, that is the feeling of tourism for me, is that we all were kind of gutted, and we're all kind of resilient and meeting the moment all together. I would say that Ohana, the family of Hawaii, Hawaii does better as a destination when everybody's doing better, and when Hawaiians are highlighted. And that's something that we're seeing more and more, whether it's Auberge or Andaz or advisors such as Andrey and myself. It's not only time to go back to Hawaii, it's time to give back.
Well, I think you guys have transported us to Hawaii and shared a lot of awesome information. I can't wait to go and rediscover, you know, some of the properties, you know, discover them for the first time, you know, with Auberge on the Big Island. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. This was another episode of My World to Travel, a travel channel designed by travel professionals for all the travel dreamers out there. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, ring the bell. We'll bring you a lot more awesome people, awesome destinations, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Mahalo. Thanks for having us.
Mahalo.